Despicable Me 4 has arrived, bringing us a new story of Gru and his family. But how did the movie turn out? Is it as good as the previous ones? Or is it just an excuse to cash in on the franchise? We will find out. Today on Charlie Tales, I'll tell you the good and the bad of the movie. As always, a spoiler warning, so you've been warned. Ready? Let's get started then. My first good point is the essence of the saga. Fans of the franchise follow Gru's adventures for various reasons, one of which is the charisma of its characters, the magic, comedy, and positive energy they convey. If you were expecting to see that in this movie, you won't be disappointed. The plot shows how Gru faces a new villain named Maxime Le Mal, who has hated him since they were young. But this time Gru has a big family and a baby, so he prefers to hide to protect them. Unfortunately, this doesn't last long, and Gru must face him, putting his family at risk. The plot is simple but effective. Don't worry, this is not one of those movies that ruin the characters of a franchise. Not at all. The movie respects the canon of the franchise and the personalities of each character. Gru is still the same kind-hearted guy who sometimes does bad things. In this movie, we see him in a new heist. He was blackmailed into doing it, but he clearly enjoyed it. Stealing is in his blood despite everything. The minions are the same chaotic troublemakers as always. In this movie, we have two teams of minions. One group stays with Gru and performs lighthearted antics to pass the time. We also have a separate story with a group of minions who gain superpowers. They are hilarious. There's a scene where the Mega Minions try to save people, but fail and only cause destruction. I laughed a lot at that part. The franchise's comedy is guaranteed. Even the new characters have their charm. For example, Poppy. She is a teenage neighbor of Gru who wants to be a villain and blackmails him to help her commit a robbery. She is very charismatic and talented as a villain. I would have liked to see more of her. Other characters like Lucy and the girls have less screen time, but remain as brilliant as always, providing the family love that Gru needs. Also, in this movie, Gru has a baby, and the little one steals every scene he appears in. In summary, the movie does a good job of conveying the classic magic of the franchise, and if that's what you wanted to see, you will certainly get it. My second good point is the references. What do I mean by this? Well, fans of the franchise have surely seen all the movies and recognize the villains and characters from each story. If you are one of those, you'll be happy to know that old characters like Vector, El Macho, or Dr. Nefario reappear in this movie as cameos. The movie took the effort to keep these characters alive and give them at least a second on screen to make fans smile. Additionally, in several scenes, we can see paintings or photographs referencing other events in the franchise. They even brought back characters from the prequels. For example, Scarlet and her husband from the Minions movie. Only now they are aged since that story was decades ago. In that sense, it's clear that the director put a lot of love into the references so that fans could enjoy it. And I applaud that because, in the end, it's the fans who support a franchise that has existed for many years. But now let's go with the bad parts of the movie. My first bad point is the villain. The movie introduces us to Maxime Le Mal, a former schoolmate of Gru, who controls cockroaches and has created weapons based on these insects' abilities. The idea is interesting, but I can easily say that he is the weakest villain in the entire franchise, including the Minions movies. Let's elaborate. The movie starts well, establishing a rivalry between Maxime and Gru. Our protagonist captures him, and he swears revenge. Things get complicated when Maxime escapes from prison, and Gru must hide with his family. Unfortunately, the movie gives very little development time to Maxime. At one point, we learn that this rivalry started because Gru stole Maxime's show in a talent competition. That was interesting, but it's not explored enough. In past movies, the villains were present throughout the story and were central to the plot. Remember how El Macho pulled several strings against Gru in his movie, and the final battle was tremendous. In Maxime's case, he only appears at the beginning and then for the final fight, which is disappointing because he had a powerful robot that destroyed itself. Gru literally did nothing. It's a shame because I liked the villain, and I enjoyed when Gru sang with him at the end to make peace. With a bit more development, he could have been a great villain like the previous ones. My second bad point is the disconnected plots. The movie suffers from having too many stories that don't connect well. It seems like each character goes their own way, and nothing connects with the main plot, which is Gru's battle against Maxime. There are stories that go nowhere, and are only there for comedy. For example, Gru's tennis match with his neighbor. That goes nowhere. They don't become friends in the end or anything like that. It feels like filler. Another example is the plot with the girls and karate, and how little Agnes said she didn't want to lie. I thought we'd get a development with her about the issue of lying, but nothing. The karate is never mentioned again. This scene goes nowhere. It could easily have been a random short film. If we are critical, even the Mega Minions plot feels forced. They don't connect with Gru at any point. They are far away with their story, and are only valuable at the end of the movie. And not much, because when they appear, Gru has already defeated the villain. They just arrived to arrest him. It really feels like the director didn't know how to connect all these stories and just glued them together. It seriously feels like the production had 10 planned short films and told the director to merge them into one story to see what happens. They are fun. Each story has its charm. But since none are focused on well, the character development is zero. The saddest part is that the movie has interesting ideas to develop its characters, but it wastes or ignores them. For example, the character of Poppy. She is introduced as an apprentice villain who blackmails Gru to help her steal a honey badger. She developed an appreciation for Gru, which was interesting. Then we have a scene where the badger's owner reappears to recover it, and Poppy runs away with the badger. When I saw this, I thought, how interesting. Poppy hid cowardly, so her character arc will be about regretting disappointing Gru, and then finding courage to help him defeat Maxime. Very good idea. But no, we never see Poppy feeling bad about hiding. She does help Gru, but only to lead him to the villain. Then she leaves, and poof. Goodbye to any interesting development. It's clear the director doesn't delve into anything. They connect the stories very vaguely. In conclusion, Despicable Me 4 is a good movie. It has charisma, fun, and its characters are really engaging, but it suffers from being basic and not delving into the ideas it presents. It's clear that it's a movie that doesn't take risks or propose anything powerful for the franchise. If you erase this movie, nothing would happen because it doesn't write anything important for the saga's canon. Despite everything, if you want to have a good time with your kids, I do recommend it because it is very entertaining. But anyway, that's all for today. If you liked the video, you would help me a lot by leaving a like. That would be legendary. Also remember to subscribe because I'll be uploading more videos about your favorite movies. Thanks for listening. My name is Charlie, and I'll see you in the future.